Hey Tigers, today we are going to unpack our next unit, which is Unit 4, and it's called Functions. So if you'll open up to your table of contents, and our title will be Unpack Unit 4, and the title of this unit is Functions, and I am on page 52. And the nice thing about this unit is there's going to be a lot of review from the things that we have covered previously in the year. So page 52, Unpack, Unit 4, Functions. All right, so remember that we always go to the middle of our page and put the title of our unit. And for this one, the title of our unit is Functions. Okay, and then we're going to look over this common assessment. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you. So for question number 1, it says, which of the following does not represent a proportional relationship? Well, proportional, hopefully that rings a bell for you. We already talked about proportions. Okay, so that's going to be one of the things we need to cover in this unit or review. This is not going to be new information. Is proportions. Okay, and obviously we need to be able to do that from word problems on that first question. Okay, so we need to be able to read the word problem and decide which word problem represents a proportional situation. Okay, remember, if at any point during the video you need to pause or back up, feel free to do that. All right, so now let's look at question number 2. And question number 2 says, what is the constant of proportionality for the data in the table below? So you have a table and you need to know what is the change between each set of numbers, and it's constant, so it's going to be the same. Okay, so constant of proportionality is one of our other things that we had already talked about. Okay, so this is one of our topics that we had already talked about previously. So that will be a review. And then question number 3 says that Cameron works for a car dealership and earns a monthly salary plus a commission for every car he sells. Which equation can be used to find Cameron's total monthly income? So we have to use the table, figure out what's happening between each of the months, checking our numbers over here, figure out what he made as he gets a monthly salary plus commission, so we know that there should be a plus in here of something per month and then a little bit extra, okay, because he earns a salary and then gets commission. So again, we're just using equations. We've done this. So I'm going to come right down here and put equations. Okay, so we're going to need to be able to write equations again. We've already done that, so that's not new. All right, and then let's take a look at question 4. Let me zoom out just a little bit for you on that one because it's a little bit of a long question. It takes up a lot of space. It says, during math class, various objects were measured. The results are in the table below. Which table represents a proportional relationship? So again, you're just going to be looking at these and seeing which one is a proportion, meaning, you know, that it passes through 0, 0, and that it is a constant rate of change that has to make a straight line. Okay, so we've already written proportions here. We might need to add that we need to know how to do a proportion from a table. Again, something we've already covered, but that one's a little bit different in that question. And then question number 5 says, which of the statements regarding the functionality of the representations below is true? So basically in this one, you're looking at these 4 different images and deciding which one is a function. Okay, so this is where kind of the new information comes in. So we are going to need to identify functions And if we look at that, there were 4 different versions. This is called a map. Obviously, we know graph. This is points, and then a table. Okay, so we're going to need to be able to identify functions from a map. That's what those 2 circle objects were. We need to be able to do a function from a graph, which is a very simple, it's a line test. So super easy. We need to be able to do functions from sets of points. And we need to be able to do functions by looking at a table. Okay, so those are the 4 ways that we'll be dealing with functions. That's really the only new information in this unit. And then if we look at question 6, it says which of the following graphs does not represent y as a function? So again, that's a function with a graph, and we've already written that down. Okay, so we have our function with graph. And then question number 7 says which of the following mapping diagrams does not represent a relationship that's a function? So again, we already wrote down functions with maps. This is what the maps look like. And then question number 8, which of the relationships is a function? So again, we have points, we have maps, we have points listed out, and we have a table. Okay, so we've already listed all of those in our function section. And then question number 9 says, what is the slope and y-intercept of the graph of the linear function in the table? So we know that we're going to have a linear equation, and we have to figure out slope and y-intercept. Again, we've already done those. Okay, so this will be review. Slope and y-intercept. And remember, that was our mx plus b format when we talked about y equals mx plus b, and m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. So simple review information. And then question number 10. The graph below shows the relationship between the number of quarters and the number of dimes in a coin collection based on the information in the graph. What is the unit rate in dimes per quarter? Okay, so that kind of falls over here under this constant of proportionality. Unit rate. It's our constant rate of change. Okay, what happens every time on that graph, since it was a straight line, the same thing is happening each time. All right, and then question number 11 says Anna received $50 from her aunt for her birthday and decided to open a savings account with it. She was inspired by this gift to start saving and depositing an additional $20 per month. If y represents how much she has saved at any month, which equation below represents the situation? So again, equations, we're going to be writing some equations. And then the last question is question number 12. And let me zoom out so you can see the whole thing, because this is kind of a large question. So you're going to complete each of these, and this may look familiar because we've already done this. This is called multiple representations, and we did this previously. So you'll take the information and you make sure that you have a completed table, a graph, an equation, and a verbal description. Okay, so this is multiple representations. Again, something that we have already done. So multiple representations. Try not to get into my proportions there. Okay, and then with multiple representations, we need to be able to do a table, a graph, an equation, and then the verbal description, which remember just really means that you're putting it into words. Okay. All right, that is all we have for Unit 4. And you'll notice that the only thing in this unit that's new is functions. All of the rest of this information is review. So this will be a relatively quick unit. Have a great day. Make sure you got all that in your notes, and I'll see you next time.